blessed, very fulfilling. Thank you all. Really appreciate that. All right, man. Yeah.
Pick up two to show off the whole thing.
Oh my goodness.
Let's give it up to Spy Audio, y'all. Let's hear it up.
Somebody put the microphone back to one way, say. Don't stop the body rocks and don't stop the groove. Somebody take a look at it and you dance to shoes. You have to move, always the rock all night. You have to move, but it's the force and the time you want. So DJ that took me about the MC. From the beat to the end to the beat to the R to the T. We're up the massive jump inside the party. We're gonna make you jump like street, yeah. We got to represent, we got to represent, jump for this, we represent, we got to represent, jump for this, we represent, we got the music represent, jump for this, we represent, I represent.
Trip down memory lane. Welcome. And I was just saying before we started the stream that as far as the actual Toronto Electronic Music Producers Meetup, we will have our 10th anniversary next January. So our first Temp meetup was way back in 2015. And man, time flies, as they say.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that I almost forgot, Peter, about that little clip there from the Transact Club. That was a pretty cool little spot, and that was a good tune, man. I
can't believe I played this thing.
Yeah, I know.
It was so melodic, it's embarrassing.
There's a lot of embarrassing moments, but it's tempting to just. I hear you. I can understand wanting to just delete everything, but I don't know. I just happened to come across a lot of those clips today, like I say, in an old folder, and I just thought but there's a lot to choose from. So whatever we put, I put there. There's a lot other stuff that and like just this past event, as we were talking with Andrew and then Peter were there at the Smith House. It was a lot of fun. It was good to see everyone there, and we'll be doing it again. As a matter of fact, we have something planned in March. I can't reveal the details yet, but it'll be something bigger and better. But without any further ado, welcome to the December 2024. I had to think about the year there for a second. I'm getting older. To our last meetup for the year. And I was almost going to not do one for December, but I thought, you know what? I think we made a skipped one earlier this year. So I wanted to at least, get as many in the year as possible. And thank you for joining. There's YouTube is what I recommend. My Twitch is not even really cooperating. I don't know about anyone else, but we're streaming to both whatchamacallit,
Yeah,
Twitch and
doesn't seem to be working.
YouTube. It is working or not?
Does not.
I don't see any visuals.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
think I got any
yeah, me
audio out
neither.
of it either.
Me neither. I don't know. It says live, but it doesn't show anything, right? I can try to stop it and restart it maybe here. I don't know if that's really going to work, but I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, just stick with YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is better anyway, to be honest with you. It's got a bit more of a delay. Yeah, we do have the entire 6-hour event on YouTube, minus, unfortunately, the vocals, which is a real kick in the pants, as they say. Who knew that there's like some obscure submenu setting on the Pioneer mixer that can exclude the microphone from going to record out? That's not the default setting, so it was news to a lot of us. I don't know. You live, you learn. That's all I can say. That will be a one-time mistake. It's a huge. I mean, the vocals were incredible. We had like small little video clips there. You could see Bandit in action. It was a real pleasure having him for the entire event. So anyway, the show must go on, as they say. And we had, pretty good feedback overall. And I certainly had a good time, that's for sure. So if anyone had as much fun as I did, then you're doing okay. But anywho, yeah, so I'm looking forward to hear. We got some videos tonight. We've got some music, obviously, as expected. So I think I have everyone's name here ready to go. The format, as you all know, we'll spin the wheel, and whoever's name comes up, we'll go ahead and play back the tune and/or video. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Get the show on the road here. If I can pick the right screen, just bear with me a second. Okay. All right. Am I missing anyone? Feel like I am, right?
So,
Peter.
Andrew.
Peter.
Yeah, I see 6 and I only see
Oh,
5.
Andrew.
Yeah, me.
That's
Yeah.
right. How could I forget? How can I forget? Okay, well, we got you, man. Cool.
Thanks.
All right, let's do it.
So is
Here comes
Twitch
the
not
big
working?
winner.
Is that the thing?
Yeah, I think Twitch
Yeah,
is not working.
I restarted it. I would just go to YouTube. I put the link there, Andrew, in the chat.
Oh crap. Okay. What's the channel called? What's the channel? Because my phone doesn't link to my computer.
Spy Audio.
Spy Audio.
It's @ Spy Audio, I think. Pretty sure. I have to like double check myself, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that's what it is, but you're not coming up here. I don't know why.
Here, let me take another gander.
On YouTube, you can try to just search for Temp Deck 2024 and it will.
Oh, okay, it's dash. So it's @ Spy Audio. Yeah.
Okay, let's try
So
that.
Yeah, so Peter, you are the first contestant.
Fantastic. All right, so you know what? I kind of ran out of new stuff. I've my buffer has been completely eaten up over the last few months, and this is an older piece I did. It's got a lot of work to do, but I was thinking there's a couple tracks I'd really like to go back to and kind of make better. So this is one I did 2 years ago, and I called it done at the time, but of course, loading it back up, I thought it needs a lot of work, but you know, the bones are there, and you know, any feedback is certainly well appreciated and welcome. And you know, I think the idea of what's going on is there, but you know, I've got another 40 hours to finish this one, and I think I'll probably do that because I'm not feeling super inspired to start something new. And actually, I bought a mic recently because my wife's a fantastic singer, and so she's got to come up with some vocals, which I've been previously using Splice stuff. So
oh, nice.
Yeah, so that'll be great. I mean,
what
she's
kind
a great.
What kind of mic, if you don't mind me asking?
I got a Rode NT1.
Okay.
Let me see here. I think I've used at Long and McQuaid, and
oh yeah,
supposedly it's quite good. And
nice. Looks
yeah,
cool.
should be a good one. I think it was $500 new, and I got it for $250 used. And you know, there's just a little bit of snot in the spit shield, so in the top shield. So that's
well, that's character.
Yeah. Throw it in the wash, you know, it'll rinse out.
It'll clean right up.
All right.
Anyway,
Well,
yeah. So this is an older track.
All right, let's give it a listen.
Every day can be the best day ever. Don't stay home wishing the weather was better. Let's remember these moments meant together, 'cause we won't stay right here forever. Make memories, make friends. Make memories, make friends. Every day can be the best day ever. Don't stay home wishing the weather was better. Let's remember these moments meant together, 'cause we won't stay right here forever. So tell that boy or girl you like him. Tell that boy or girl you like him. Don't live with any regrets. Don't live with any regrets. Take a trip to London or LA. Make memories, make friends. Make memories, make friends. Live your life like it's the last day. Stay up all night like it's the greatest show. Love your life like it's the last day. Like it's the end of the world. Like it's the last day. Like it's the last day. Like it's the last day. Like it's the last day.
It was very bouncy and upbeat and nice and dancey. Thanks, that was cool.
Yeah, it's very, very optimistic.
Thank you. Yeah, it seemed like I really enjoyed the lyrics on that one. I wasted a number of fantastic lyrics from Splice early on, and I figure I should go back and do something.
It's very clean. I did read the comment there about the side chaining. So yeah, if you didn't do side chaining on the kick, that would definitely be something to do. Good ears, Paul, for picking that out. One thing I noticed, and I don't know if I'm exactly correct on this, and I don't necessarily think it's needed, but do the vocals just go throughout the entire track? Like there's no real breakdown, right?
Yeah.
Is there?
I think you're right. Yeah.
That could be, you know what I mean? One thing from an arrangement perspective, right? Just saying.
Yeah.
Like even how you just ended it there at the end of the tune, that could actually be a breakdown section earlier on somewhere, It's an idea.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's there's a lot of flaws there, so don't be shy. I appreciate that, and I think you're right. I mean, there was somebody blabbing through the entire thing.
Well, it's a good vocal, right? As to everyone that's saying uplifting, it's a good,
I was gonna ask about the vocal. Like, is it like actual human singing? Like it was a person, or was it?
Yes, from what I understand, it is. I mean, all the vocals I get, I use from Splice, so
Okay.
I believe it's somebody singing, but I can't vouch for it. They weren't in my room.
I'm just curious because it's too perfect. Like, I wonder if it's processed somehow or not.
Yeah, that's one thing I found when I was an active subscriber to Splice that eventually kind of turned me away from it, is that their loops are very well produced to the point that I can't really add anything to it. And anything I add to it just kind of makes it sound more lo-fi, if you know what I mean. So, yeah, one thing I'd suggest too, if you use Splice, go for the dry option as opposed to the wet option. They do often offer you the difference, because then you can actually apply your own vocal effects and make it kind of sit better in the mix. And
I mean, believe it or not, I've been doing from the start, and I
nice, good.
used some terrible effects.
All right, well, too much, maybe a little bit too much processing. Yeah.
Yeah,
we used to strive for perfection, and now it's like with digital and computers, we're trying to make it a little bit more human again, like a little less perfect. Because, like, I mean, either she's like an amazing singer, or it's auto-tuned to the perfection. Like, I mean, like my ear like wouldn't notice like a single place where it would be off beat or off key or whatever, and it's like now, like I know that the trend is reversed just to make it a little bit more believable, right? So I don't know. It's obviously a choice. Like there's no rules here, but
yeah. Oh, I appreciate that. I mean,
it wouldn't make a single mistake like throughout the track, and I'm like,
Right.
doesn't.
Yeah, it's probably not. Humans don't make zero mistakes. Yeah, I understand that. So, all right. Well, maybe. I mean, you know what I find when I'm doing when I manipulate those vocals, I do start with the dry, but yeah, I mean, a lot of it is kind of volume automation. I do FL Studio, so I use. I'll do gross beat, which does a lot of time changing or volume effects, which again I didn't use there. So yeah, it was a pretty dry, straightforward vocal with some plain reverb and maybe some over aggressive delay. Like the delay comes in and out, comes in and out. But I understand what you mean, Phil, or sorry, Paul, where you try to do something with it, you try to improve it, and really you're just taking away
Yeah.
from what's there. And so you have to be kind of radical about what you're doing with the vocals, and I certainly didn't do anything with that there. So,
But I mean, you've expressed a desire to go back to this song, and I think clearly it's a good starting point. So, like, I agree. Make it a little longer, or add like an instrumental breakdown, and then just work on the production with what you've kind of learned over the last couple of years. And yeah, I'd love to hear it again.
what I've learned and bought.
Yeah, exactly.
By the way, yeah, real quick, I want to express my frustration. I bought Soothe 2 for on Black Friday, and then I don't know if you guys noticed what they did with Pro Q4.
Yeah, I picked it up.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
that's amazing.
they just totally took Soothe 2 right out of like. So I
That's why
enjoyed it for about 5 days, and then Pro Q4 came out, and I was like, oh man,
Yeah. Well, you'll get an update. You'll get a
a
discount on the
discount.
update to Soothe 3 if it ever comes out.
Oh, great, yeah. I mean,
But yeah, I love the Q4 with the ability to have all your channels within the same instance of Q4 and just be able to mix from right there. It's pretty cool.
yeah, and that's something I thought about too, because they also, they show the hot zones where you've got
Yep.
overlap, which
Yeah.
you don't get with Soothe, and yeah, so I'm whatever. I flushed $100 down the toilet with Soothe because I'm gonna have to.
Well, that's a good price for Sue, from what
Yeah,
I've
I was
heard.
gonna say at least you got it on sale.
Yeah, oh yeah, it was a good price, but I mean, for 5 days worth of work, it wasn't as much as I would have liked. All right, buddy, let me help. Come here. Start to discuss. But thank you guys so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for sharing. All right, I'll go ahead and spin the wheel.
That's enough. Don't go there, it's the cat.
Okay, Phil.
All right.
Okay, saw a video from you.
Yeah, so this is a track I actually wrote 7 years ago. And,
you don't get it then.
I wrote 7 years ago, and I had always wanted to do a video for it, and I just didn't really. I had the idea in my head, and at the time I was doing 3D visualization, and I thought, well, I'm just gonna 3D model all this stuff, and it's a song that's kind of set in the Rust Belt of the U.S. in a sleepy town, kind of dusk is falling, the people have gone to sleep. There's a few lights on, but it's just kind of devoid of people because they're all asleep. There's a few mills still cranking out product overnight. So I used AI this time, using Flux AI to generate a bunch of still images, and then used Halo Minimax to animate these. So it's just kind of meant to be cinematic in a way. That's an ambient track, and used nothing but the Arturia CS80 on the track.
Okay.
So anyway, hope you enjoy. It's called "See You Later."
Right on. Okay, well, let's give it a shot. Let's give it a listen.
Cool track. Did I hear? Was there no percussion in that?
Yeah, no percussion. Just like I think 7 or 8 instances of the CS80.
Yeah, that was really neat. I mean, certainly very ethereal and
Mhm.
yeah, kept me interested the whole way through. But it also felt like I was rooted in a specific place. Um, I don't know if I want to visit any of those towns that you put the video.
I used to live there, so I had I was up close and personal, and no offense to the people that like Pittsburgh, but yeah, my wife and I at the time we didn't like it so much.
Hey, there's
But
places in Toronto that look like that. I
yeah,
mean,
there's places in Toronto that
honestly,
look like
the
that.
Junction
So
Yeah.
area, there's all
yeah,
kinds. Hamilton, not too far away from here, there's all kinds.
yeah.
But
I mean, I've got kind of a fascination with like industrial kind of wasteland type places, you know, the old steel mills. Architecturally, I think they're interesting, and
I
they're
love the
just dirty, dingy, and all that stuff. So.
I love the trestles at the beginning, like the train bridges and everything
Hmm.
specifically, because it made me think of walking through the Don Valley in Toronto and like off the beaten
Oh, right.
path. And
Yeah.
that's what it kind of took me to, like on a journey,
Hmm.
slowly moving through, like you said, industrial decay. Love it.
Yeah.
and when you
It's kind of
take the
like,
train, you see a lot of spots like that, right? Because obviously you're on a
Hmm.
train and you're going through places where, you know what I mean?
hmm
There's I just found myself taking the train a lot lately and kind of reacquainted with a lot of these spots or whatever that I had kind of not seen in a while. So it's definitely moody. Someone mentioned Vangelis. I think that's a pretty apt.
yeah. I mean, he was a big user of the CS80, the original, you know,
Like
hardware version
the most
of
famous
Blade
one
Runner.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it definitely conjured up kind of an ambient or that kind of gritty, dark, dirty, moody scene.
Very like I mean the cinematic soundtrack. I mean that could easily be in a major production. I could totally hear and see it.
I remember
Eh,
how before we would be like, okay, so that soundtrack, so imagine, and you kind of try to describe it. And
Yeah.
now it's just a click of a button and you can actually have your version of the visual like sequence there. It's like, and this particular one, I just can't stop but trying to see imperfection. And other than the graffiti makes no sense. I found
Yeah.
no issues
Yeah, I
there.
mean, there's signs on the buildings don't. And you know, to be honest, Peter, for each one of those kind of scenes, I rendered out like 50 images out of Flux AI, and I did like endless iterations on high low. But yeah, to get the best ones out, and I had a few blooper ones. I'm gonna do a
All right,
blooper reel.
Philip, I interrupt. Peter, do you want to mute yours
Yeah,
because?
I'll just put them on mute.
Sorry,
Just
sorry
unmute when
about
you
that.
want to talk,
Okay,
Peter.
I'm
Yeah,
just.
yeah. No worries, no worries.
Yeah, so yeah, I've got a few bloopers too that I'm gonna do a blooper reel.
I mean, you know where to look, like, but from
Yeah.
the perspective of a viewer who hasn't had any context, like,
Hmm.
even though I knew how it's made,
Yeah.
even then, like, you don't know where to look. You wouldn't. It wouldn't occur to you that it's all generated.
Yeah, if you didn't tell someone it was AI, they might not know, frankly.
Yeah.
Well, and
Like even
certainly I did mention that it wasn't like it wasn't a place I would want to go, but
yeah.
it was very familiar to me. It seemed like any town, USA. Um, so it had a lot of familiarity to me, even though it's Pittsburgh, which I had no idea. It did look a lot like Toronto, and it could have been generated from
Mhm.
anywhere. So it had a lot of a mass appeal to it. I think it would resonate with most people that look at it. It's not wouldn't be like, oh, that's Pittsburgh. I mean, at least that wasn't that way for me.
Mhm. Mhm.
I'm just sharing that
Oh, really
Yamaha
cool video.
CS80
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check the prices on there.
Yeah,
Yeah, on eBay. That's
Yeah.
hilarious. I
Yeah.
would never get that thing shipped.
Yeah. That thing weighs like this. It's like half of a car.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for thanks for watching and listening. Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, that was really again very cinematic, and just to echo what Peter said, I mean that the AI really has come to the point where without a careful look, you would know. You would think it was legit.
Did you, I don't know if you have, could you link, you mentioned Flux AI, which I've used for, um, through OpenAI to do some album or single covers for stuff I've released. But could you link some of the AI stuff that you've used? Because I know last week you did a fantastic video as well.
Yeah,
And
you really have to run it on Comfy UI on your local machine. You have to have a really good graphics card, 4090 or 4080 NVIDIA card with lots of VRAM to generate decent images. Um, yeah, I mean, there's lots of tools, and then the animation one that we use is Hailu. Let's see, do I have it on here? Graphics AI.
How complex would you say this is to learn? Like, is it like GPT prompting, or is it more like scripting, like you need to know specific language or
Well,
syntax?
you have to know how to build a workflow.
Okay,
So you load your models, you load your clip models, you do your prompting, you do your case sampler. I mean, there's tons of tutorials out there on how to do it.
really cool.
And then, you have to really be good at prompting.
Yeah, I
Peter
think
turned me on to a Laura that's really good for creating realism.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so yeah, I mean, there's just so much out there. And then once you get your image, I mean, you can even use this tool that I sent you on photos. Um, you have to write a prompt like, what you want the character and the
Yeah,
camera
and
to be.
you can start with an image too.
Yeah,
Just FYI, in case that's not obvious, and some people don't like
yeah,
that, but I find it pretty cool personally.
hmm
Helps
yeah,
with
sure.
flyers. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think oh,
there's
you know the stable diffusion, right? Like you've done something with stable diffusion before, I think.
Yeah,
At
I
least
haven't I
in
I
probably
your
used I used Caliber, and it was, I think, a lot more simplified. Like
oh,
I just had to do a series of straightforward prompts, and then it gave me a visual styles to select from, and kind of went from there. But
yeah, I mean, there's a
I want to
guy
get
that
dabble more in this.
yeah, Comfy UI. There's this one on, this is like this is a good guy to follow as well. Just go to his website, his YouTube, and he shows you how to install it and all that stuff. Wait,
Cool.
here's the introduction. Hold on.
theoretically you can use them separately. You don't have to use them together. The problem is that Flux is really, really good at stills, especially with realism, Laura. So it kind of gives you that like super realistic stuff. And from there you can kind of include that as a starting point for your animation, and that's a winning formula. So if you do Hailu Minimax by itself, it would give you that average AI feel, like artificial plastic stuff. It's good at animation, but it's not really good at generating. And sometimes when it changes the color scheme, and you can tell. But if you use the Flux as a starting point and then feed it to one of those video engines, that's where you see this incredible realism kick in. And so that's a game changer, I think.
And they're going to get better and better and better.
Yep, that's for sure. And then it's going to be like what Ted Kaczynski warned us all about, the Unabomber.
Yeah.
Where we'll be so dependent on the machines that we won't be able to make decisions without them. I just watched the movie, that's why it's fresh in my mind. Ted K on Netflix. It was I've seen probably at this point 3 or 4 Unabomber movies, but anyway. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and try to figure out where my browser went. Thank you once again for sharing, Phil. Okay, Andrew, you've been quiet tonight.
No, don't really say much usually. You know me. This track is about a year and a half, maybe 2 years old. It's I don't know how to put it into a class of music in itself, but it goes along, I guess, with my style, which is a little bit quirky. It's called Major Angels. Go ahead and play it, Lenny.
Let me track it down. Did you send it to the main?
I did. I didn't realize I was supposed to send stuff in an hour at least before.
Well, it doesn't have to be, but you know, it's preferable, but you know, whatever.
Yeah. I know now. It's all good.
Yeah, it's I've basically now the muscle memory is kicked in. I've done this enough times that I can actually remember what I'm doing from month to month. I swear to you, there's been months where I'm like, okay, how do I do this again? But now it's been like registered into my deeper memory, I guess. So okay, I will go ahead and switch it over. So it'll take maybe like 10 seconds for me to get it going. So let's give it a listen.
Right, thanks.
Registered into my deeper memory, I guess. So.
I could definitely drive with this tune. Had that
Cool.
kind of lay back and cruise. You know, you're not stuck in traffic on this one, but you're cruising through out on the back roads somewhere. Yeah.
You've got quite the backlog, Andrew, I gotta say.
Yeah.
You're always like, oh,
Um,
I made this track 2 years ago, and it's like, whoa, it's like it sounds fresh, man. It sounds like really,
Thanks.
timeless.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I guess I got a few. I'm starting to run out, but coming up with new stuff is been an experience over the last little while. So I'm just trying to get out stuff that I haven't played for you guys before. So
Yeah,
that's about.
a lot of good comments there. I saw some of them. One of them, I put first of all the hi hats just as a small little part, but it's nice. You made good use of it. I always like hi hats personally, and
Yeah, I was going to say the hi-hats were great, and I don't know if it was a wood block or something, but all those quiet, subtle little percussions really popped through, and really made it for me because what you had going underneath was very straightforward and repetitive, even though it did evolve. But those little hits, the percussion hits, really popped through, and yeah, I like that a lot.
Cool. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks.
I wonder how many tracks total is in it.
In that particular song itself, if you give me a couple of minutes, I can look it up.
I know just roughly. I mean, 10 or 20 or
I'd probably say between 15 and maybe 20.
Okay.
So there's quite a few instruments involved,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I've noticed that there's so much happening, but also no collisions. So it's really nicely mixed stuff. So.
Oh, thanks, Peter.
and as typical of your music, I know I've said this many times, but it's true. It's very uplifting. It's like one of those tracks that makes you feel good. It's not like a dark track, but it's not. But it's nice. It's a nice balance, frankly. I don't know how to articulate it exactly, but it's just a nice groove, just to echo what other people are saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's not in your face happy,
Right?
Not major key, but it's upbeat. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's optimistic feeling. Yeah, I liked it a lot. And I wonder, Paul, I noticed you adjusted something behind you there. A little it looks like a sub maybe behind you.
Oh, this is a like mini space heater. I
Oh.
use it because I have electric radiators, but just running this is like way cheaper in electricity, and it actually feels nice and toasty.
And
So
you've got a fan.
I'm mixing someone else's song on the fly, so I want
no,
What's that white thing behind you?
yeah, that's what that is. It's just a space heater.
All right.
All my other toys are over here.
What's the other piece back there behind you?
Oh,
White
yeah,
thing
actually,
that's moving around.
I got the other way.
I meant to do.
I got.
So this is the twist. It's a virtual background, guys. He's got us all.
No, but apparently I cannot unblur my background completely. But so you get a portrait blur. But no, I got a DJ deck here. Like it's a Newmark mix stream.
I think it's your fan behind you nodding.
Oh, my Wuzu. Yeah, buddy. That's like the Costco special. It goes up, down, left, and right.
Oh, the Wuzu. Right on.
It's the best fan.
It's portable too, right? You can bring it outside or something like that.
This one isn't, but I think there's a more expensive one.
There are some that do. Yeah. Fan of the fan.
I was also going to say, Andrew, I mean, it really reminded me, it's something I pulled out a while ago. I don't know if you guys remember, but the Hackers soundtrack.
Hackers, yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing because, when you go back to the older techno stuff, like from, I don't even want to talk about how many years ago, it's got to be 20, 25 years ago. But there's just such a high quality sound to it, real interesting vibe, which you just don't get anymore. Everything is so, like, the loudness wars are there, and it's been lost. You need a loud song, And with your track, Andrew, I mean, it really it goes through a wide variety of volumes, and it really expresses itself. And I mean, it sounds a little silly, but I love that soundtrack. I think there's so many great tracks on it, and it would have fit right in with that. And yeah, so it's a high compliment to me.
Yeah. Hackers is a classic.
Thank you.
1995, man. Yeah, that was a minute ago.
Yeah. Oh, you're killing me, Paul. I said 2025, 30 years.
I was still a grunger back then. Like I wasn't even into electronic music.
Oh man,
You're
you're wearing the flannel shirts, man. Come on.
Yep.
Still in, man. All right. Well, thanks for sharing, Andrew. Good stuff. Really appreciate the contribution. The more quality, the better, man. That's my saying. All right. Paul, good to have you back.
Thanks, man.
Got your
Yeah.
space heater going, nice and toasty for the winter.
Well,
It's gonna be
'cause
cold tomorrow, man. It's dropping. Did you see the temperature tomorrow? It's nuts.
it's
It's taking a
brutal.
nosedive.
At like -2, I'm done. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun winter. But yeah, so what I'm gonna play is I'm gonna call it an alpha take one, as it's was a quick recording of something I made my first beat on my brand new Digitone 2. I had to get the sequel because it just improves on everything my favorite synthesizer does. So I traded in my Digitone for something else, and yeah, so this is the guy right here.
Cool.
What's amazing about it, like I've used the Digitone for like 4 years now, and it's kind of what got me into Electron devices, but it's 16 tracks, so 16 voices, so you can do almost full arrangements, or like 5 to 7 tracks of polysynth with like chords and shit, and it's I don't know, it's just got a really inspiring workflow to it. And anyways, what I'm gonna play for you, and probably made it within 3 or 4 hours, and it's 2 patterns and me just doing pattern mutes to do a de facto arrangement. I would like to continue working on this song, but yeah, just curious what you think of it. It's just the one device, the Digitone. And yeah, I think
Cool.
I think it's trip hop or hip hop, but yeah, let me know.
Oh, wow. All right, man. Let's give it a listen. Oh, it's awesome. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I mean,
Cool.
it sounded like a full track. You said you still wanted to work on it.
Well, yeah, it's just basically two patterns. Like you'll notice where there's a key change, that's pattern two. And both 128 bars because they doubled the lengths of the sequences in the Digitone too. So you can do 8-bar patterns now.
Oh, right on.
Hold on,
And,
the entire thing was made on that little black thing?
entire thing.
Wow.
And it's mostly FM synthesis, but they've also added a subtractive synth engine to its tone, and that's what did the strings and
Yeah, it sounded really full too, the strings. Like, I mean, like like it sounded, you wouldn't know that it wasn't done on a DAW necessarily, right? Like it sounded pretty good. Very good,
yeah,
I should say.
not mixed, just ozone on the master. You know how we do. But, yeah, I'm pleased with it.
You kind of went quiet there all of a sudden, Paul. I don't know if you switched mics or something by accident, but can still hear you though. But
I'm using a lav and it keeps falling off of the clip.
there you go, there you go. That's better.
But yeah, just ozone on the master and not mixed. And yeah, I wanna basically edit it and add maybe another machine or two to it. Probably cut out a couple of the things that you heard in that original version. And yeah, I make more music in the winter. I don't know about you guys, but I find a lot more productive.
Makes sense.
then.
Makes sense. You got a lot more darkness. You got more time, I would say.
So much darkness.
I basically make lately. I've been making music all the time, personally, but I can see how the winter can be a productive time for because like, it's a shorter day, right? So
I have less going on
I'm
too,
not
so
afraid of the
it
dark.
helps.
Like, I mean, some people freak out, like, oh, you're driving at midnight. I'm like, if you drive at 5 o'clock at night or midnight, it's almost the same thing. Like, it's dark at 5 o'clock right now.
Driving
So.
in Toronto at midnight is amazing.
Well, there's
I
less
was,
traffic. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, well,
Still,
yeah,
still
not, there's
well
still
lit.
lots,
there's still
but yeah,
traffic, amazingly enough,
Yeah.
at midnight, actually,
Yeah.
but still,
Yeah.
it's
I was gonna
better.
say, like I
Better.
really enjoyed the sub bass running through that because
Mm-hmm.
it seemed to be ever present, but it didn't fill the space. It seemed very well mixed, well controlled. I don't know what it was about it, but I mean, it was a hypnotic part of it, which I enjoyed, allowed me to kind of explore the rest of the track. So, yeah, it was a great sound on the sub bass.
Appreciate that. And one thing I'll say that I also used that wasn't in Digitone 1 is a compressor. So you're able to actually send the kick into a compressor and choose which tracks are affected by the compressors. So
Oh, nice.
so that way the strings and the bass kind of didn't get in the way of the kick. But yeah, I love my Electron stuff.
And you're making good use of it. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Well, thanks for listening, guys.
Well, thank you for sharing, and look forward to hearing even more hardware stuff. Yeah, I guess you were saying like you did a lot of like muting, like so you like record and then you mute and unmute the different section, basically.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
nice.
Basically, you just had it's just like a canvas, and you mute and unmute to kind of paint the arrangement in a way. Really
Beautifully
good
done.
DJs do this too, but not something I can do. But yeah,
Yeah. It's but if you can manage it, it's always a plus, It goes over well, I find. So hardware stuff is definitely in. I've always liked it, but I'm just saying I think people appreciate it. Seeing people doing something, like yeah, cool. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, big surprise. I have a drum and bass track. Wow. Who would have thought? Anyway, I'll just give it a spin. I kind of sort of picked up in a way from the last track I did. I think it has like a similar vibe to it, but I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. So I'll let it go.
Yes, that was amazing, Lenny.
Fucking
Sick.
hell, that's a banger. Yeah, like, geez. I want to say it's less experimental than other tracks I've heard from you in a good way. Like, just
That was amazing.
it pumps, it has melody. It reminded me that these are bass cannons. It's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. I actually, one of the goals with this track was to actually make a 6-minute track not be like boring. So I don't know if
Okay,
I accomplished that, but I felt like
totally.
towards the end, there's enough variation that it keeps you interested. But that was the challenge I was really working on because that's one of the feedback I got from Dextra. He's like, "Oh, the new drum and bass tracks are like 3 minutes long, man. Whatever happened to those long, 7-minute tracks and 6-minute tracks?" I'm like, all right, you know what?
Yeah.
It's got a point. And basically, like I was saying last time, I'm trying to have more stuff happening in the breakdown sections, whereas in the past it was just more about the drops. And so I'm having a little bit of fun, frankly, with like the in-between stuff. And I don't know, it just
Not
sort of worked with that growl and like the riser and all that stuff. It kind of just fit. But I went back to this tune a few days afterwards and I was like, I gotta add something. So I added another variation. I don't know if you noticed, like a different kind of like a little um after the first drop or whatever. That piano interlude part, when it comes
that.
back, it's like a new section, you know? So
Yeah.
it's like, and I feel like it keeps your attention going. Like, yeah, I could have in the old days I would have just repeated the same drop again, but I thought, you know what? I'm gonna try a little bit of variation. So
Yeah, I have to echo what Paul is saying in that, yeah, it's your style, but it's different from what I've heard from you. It was less ambient. It was very much in your face, more reminiscent of, like you said, a 3 minute track, where it kept, I mean, kept my TikTok focus where, and I would say that the sub bass was amazing. Uh, I'd be interested to see what you're doing with it. Like it seemed to hit so quickly and clearly, while still pushing a lot of power throughout the entire time. And that's something that I struggle with, where, if I want to hit a sub note and an eighth rhythm, it ends up just sounding like a big. Whereas with you, I could hear each interval, and that was really well done. And yeah, it sounded fantastic. And I was using my sub, but I didn't have my cans in. I'm trying to put the kids to bed, and it was
right.
shaking the house. So it was great.
Well, that's another thing that, in my older track, I'm talking way back, or maybe not even that long ago, I focused way more on the drums, and now I realize, obviously, the bass is a huge part of it. I mean, it's almost too obvious to state drum and bass, right? But
Mhm.
side chaining, at the end of the day, it's the most important thing I would say with Neurofunk is I
So
did a session with
that's the style you would call that neurofunk? Because I'm not
yeah,
adept on the subgenres, but I know that's one of my favorite ones. So
I
yeah.
think that's the closest one I would come to. That
Yeah.
some people make a distinction between neuro and neurofunk. So
Mm,
neurofunk is a little bit, it goes back all the way to 99, frankly,
exactly. Yeah.
like with Bad Company.
Yeah.
A lot of the new style neurofunk after like getting this information from Current Value, who I consider to be the greatest producer making drum and bass. They add on the side chain minus 0.03 milliseconds before and after. So it actually kicks in a little bit earlier. See what I mean? So there's like a pre-delay. So you'll notice with a lot of up-to-date drum and bass, the bass kind of, it's hard to describe, but it has that sort of effect where
Yeah.
it has like a bit of a delay before and after each hit or whatever.
Interesting.
Uh,
I'm gonna have to listen
That's
to
what
that.
I tend to find with stuff that I do. I do a ghost kick, so you don't hear the kick at all, but you push that a little bit earlier so that there's no, it's not, the bass is out of the way. It's absolutely out of the way. You don't have to look ahead. You don't have to do anything else. And the after is something else, but then surely, I mean, I think you need to time it so it's rhythmical, so you have that pumping feeling that goes with the beat, not just in and out whenever you
Yeah.
feel like it. It's got to hit an eighth note or a quarter note or whatever it is.
Yeah, and a lot of times the other inspiration is I listen to tunes that I like and I try to copy the beat basically. You know what I mean? I map out the kicks and the snares, which it's amazing how subtle certain patterns can be. You know what I mean? Like I sometimes really struggle to come up on my own. So I'm like, okay, I know this beat is really good. I like it a lot. You know what I mean? So I try to incorporate that as well. But at the end of the day, it's like I was saying the last time, I'm a slow learner. It takes me a long time to learn things, but I've been I don't know, I've been having a lot of fun lately making music. So
You
it's,
know, when it comes to using stuff you've heard, or just, I mean, I can try my absolute best to emulate something, and I can't, but I end up with something very good because I'm attempting to emulate it. But something somebody told me, which I really appreciated, they talk about, oh, you want to build something from scratch, right? And so he says, okay, well, if I send you out into the woods with a hatchet, how long before you send me an email?
right,
And
right.
the idea is you really have to work off of what people have already done. Otherwise, you're really wasting your time. So emulating it and trying to completely copy what somebody else does, you're always going to add your own flavor to that. And I don't think there's any shame in that.
Well, speaking of flavor, like Flavor Flav of Public Enemy once said, "Yo, can't copyright no beat." And it at the end of the day, there's only so many beats, right? And jungle, which gave birth to drum and bass, is all around a 6-second sample by the Winstons at the end of the day. And all drum and bass at the end of the day is a derivative of that step, the two step, right? So if you could play an amen break on almost any drum and bass track, like as a DJ, and a lot of the times it fits in for that reason. So it's kind of I know there's people that don't like sampling and stuff like that. I've never looked down on it just simply because I've always liked this genre. So now people take it to another level, definitely. And I think people like Current Value, for me, just consistently making the most interesting, and his stuff is very experimental, but at the same time, it it uh it like people feel it. So like it's just an average person will just listen to it, and especially on a big PA, his music will just reverberate with people. And so I don't know, I've really taken him as my inspiration, frankly, because I mean, I think that certain people are just talented in a way that they're just born with a certain talent. And I think he's just uniquely talented in this particular genre. But it's always fresh, you know what I mean? Like someone who's been making tunes for I don't know how long he has been around, but let's say 20 plus years, right? There's a lot of people in drum and bass that still rely on their name and their reputation. You know what I mean? Like no offense to them, they're talented people, but they stopped making interesting music like a long time ago. But they still get big bookings and they still get, huge crowds because they're a big name, right? Current Value is still making excellent music that is like completely like fresh and innovative, you know what I mean? So it's kind of, those are the sort of artists that I think at the end of the day, I just believe in trying to emulate, the quality stuff that's out there rather than, you know what I mean, chasing a trend or whatever. Because I don't know, there's always I love this genre. It's a very flexible genre. There's a lot of different directions you can go in. But just to your earlier point, Paul, like I feel like neurofunk is a kind of style that I like a lot. And I know I'm sort of rambling, but I do like all kinds of raga, and you know, I pretty much across the board like many different genres, even outside of drum and bass. But I feel like you have to try to push the envelope. You know what I mean? There's just there's a lot of mainstream stuff now out there that is very popular, but it's like the Black Eyed Peas. Okay, I don't want to totally dump on them, but like they're extremely popular, right? And they suck. You know what I mean? Like I feel sorry for them, and I feel sorry for people that listen to that music. Quite frankly, I don't mean to be insulting, but that's sort
No,
of what my approach. It's just that
they were once very underground. They were very legitimate hip hop artists before
Yeah.
Fergie showed up, and like yeah, a lot of people like they were like Tribe Called Quest or anyone else that
I
did
don't know about
great
that, man.
great stuff.
I really like a Tribe Called Quest. I don't
They
think the
had
Black
one
Eyed Peas
album
were
where
ever
they were backpacker. That's true, but I don't know. Go back to it, Peter. You're gonna be like, oh yeah, this wasn't that good.
because I was trying to
Because
think
it's
of an
Will.i.am on
example,
it, you know?
and they're so
Keep
wealthy
that
that I
up.
feel like they can weather the criticism, like me
Yeah.
dissing them. It shouldn't be like, oh God. So I'm not picking some obscure artist, right? And they sort of made the bed that they're in, kind of
Hmm.
thing. But I was thinking, like, what artist is extremely popular and like sucks hard? Like, I mean, super hard. And I just thought, Black Eyed Peas. They're just like the perfect example
I mean, I'd
of
argue
everything I
Avicii, but that'd
despise.
probably get me in trouble. But
Whatever. I mean, if you gotta live with what you do, right? Like
hmm.
I talk a game, but I walk the game too, man. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I say a lot of things, but at the end of the day, I do a lot of things, right? And if you want to constantly put out garbage, this is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get dissed by people like me that, you know, enjoy the more quality things in life. You know what I mean? So Black Eyed Peas, you're not getting signed up for temper events, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't mean to be negative. I think, my basic attitude is just to try to create more quality to go along with the quality that's out there. And, at the end of the day, you know, we can only do what we can do. And so, but thanks for listening. I appreciate the audience, and I
Love that one.
appreciate I
It
appreciate
was
this
great.
group. It's really helped me over the years be able to improve. Now, I think we have Peter as our next and last contestant. Speaking of quality,
Is that your real name, by the way? Because Peter Wolf is,
I know, I hear that a lot.
yeah.
Yes, it is the real name.
Well, good for you. Your parents must have loved you very much.
The real Howler. Oh,
I've heard that as well a lot.
that's a Germanic
Well, it's
name, right?
suggested to put that
Basically.
sample to all these mixes that I have, so for trademarking purposes. It's way too cheesy. But okay.
No, but you definitely got the wolf the meme shirt, right? So that was like
I
a big
used to,
thing
I got it.
decades ago.
Yes, I used to use it to kind of double down on my DJ Wolf name, but since I barely spin in public anymore, I kind of didn't need it. So I have a couple of things that both have visuals. Technology is the same as Philip just explained. Same thing on the back end. On the genre side of things, it's still techno, and I'm really trying to get to the point when I don't have to use a subgenre as to describe my music. I just want to say techno, and that would mean the original 90s, where we didn't have 200 techno subgenres. So this is really the attempt, but obviously the new tools and new discoveries, lots of learning. If I had to name one person who, well, I mean, it's very hard, but one person He's from Berlin. His name is Schlar with A but double dot. I don't know how to
Umlaut.
pronounce it. Yeah, but this guy and the other guy with him, like they have a label called Funk Assault, and they're kind of setting the new bar very high with the techno that has. Techno's always been like less is more, so a very narrow window of what you can do, and still try to express yourself and make people, get into that hypnotic state with a lot of tricks in it. But these guys are doing so good, and now they just released a new EP, and I think that what you're hearing right now would be the conclusion of the series of tracks I made. And the next thing I want to do is try to get as close to the sound they make as possible. So this would, to me, be the end of the year and the end of the attempts to just do hypnotic techno in general. Yes, this. I just saw them a week ago, and my mind was blown. And a few days later, they came up with a new album. It's absolutely insane. So I think if you think of a proper techno, this is it. So it is very, very traditional in terms of how it was born and enhanced, born in Detroit, enhanced in Berlin. But these guys added some more hypnotic effects to it, more swing on that bass, and it's just like 5 minutes you're in the dance floor and in a different reality. So this is absolutely crazy what these guys do, and they're super popular now in Europe. So hopefully we'll discover them. But also there's a danger, as you just explained, Lenny, like to go too popular. So you have to like compromise for the sake to make it more
Yeah, I mean,
appealing to the larger groups. So obviously it can have potentially its tech house moment. But right now we're at the beginning of this, like, or maybe I'd say resurgence or like renaissance of this kind of type of classic techno, as opposed to all the harder, faster versions of it, which is kind of falling off right now. Well, they're called TikTok techno now. But yeah,
man,
I
even
played a
techno.
lot with that. Obviously, Audio Pilot played a lot with that, and we had a lot of fun. But I think it's done. It's getting, to me personally, it's getting boring. So I'm kind of back to techno without all these additional things. So anyway,
interesting.
the first track is kind of hard and not hard in terms of music, but kind of dark. And the second is lighter. The first is called Depth, and the second is more playing with like some retro sounds and the retro visuals. Take it away.
All right, awesome. Let's give it a watch and listen. All right, awesome. Wow.
That was dope.
Yeah, very nice, man. Very good.
Like I love how the kick just kind of centers everything, but it also makes you really hear and pay attention to what's going around it. Um, especially the hi-hats. I feel like you were using
Yeah.
filter in parts to kind of create variation and like,
There,
yeah,
there are various,
love it.
there are many, but no more than 2 or 3 at a time.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it's like just to, like I said, this genre, like it gives you very little room to do much
No
about it.
frills, no frills, yeah.
Mostly like a couple of filters and a couple of variations on the hi-hat side of things.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that was
mean,
proper,
you
man.
really you really hype that up going into it, and it totally fulfilled. Like I love that. That really took me back. Like the kick was fantastic, but I love how short it was. And then that there's that sub bass layered on top of it. Like that was just that real drive that I remember going back to, you know, many years ago. But yeah, I loved it. And it seemed like it had 2 layers, like 2 sub bass layers. There was a sub bass,
There
and
are
there
two,
was something very
there are two
close to a
sub
sub
bass
bass.
and 3 bass lines. So
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'd love
and
to hear that on a proper, like, I mean, I have monitors here, but it would be great to hear on a proper system.
it's really
they
like
didn't
subs.
collide with each other either. They all came through very clearly. Like it just, you know, the kick and the sub were just so crisp, and then there were the higher layers which went so well together. But I honestly, I was listening to it thinking, how the hell do you do that?
Yeah, there are a few tricks. I stopped doing this a year ago, and for a year I haven't produced anything. So I restarted a lot late October, but prior to that was almost a year because I felt like I just don't know what to do. So I had to learn quite a bit. But yeah, I mean, maybe someday we'll do something like screen sharing with like DAO and everything. So no, I have
Yeah,
one
pretty
that
cool.
is like much lighter, has less. I just don't want this to be the last thing you see before I go to bed. Uh, so if you don't mind, like
Let's
the
do
Oh,
it.
absolutely. Yeah, we'll
lighter
play the
one,
other tune for sure, man.
yeah,
But I just
hopefully,
still trying to absorb this one. But
yeah.
yeah, like, I mean,
Hopefully it didn't
just
disturb
proper.
you too much. I showed it to my wife because she's like a very sort of picky in terms of the techno she likes, and she asked me what's wrong with me. So I figured mission accomplished.
Yeah. And I loved, I mean, the video was fantastic. It had a really great vibe to it. You know, my only comment I'd make would be that, I mean, it was obviously AI. There was a lot going on with people's eyes and movements, which I wish wasn't there because it was very believable in almost every other way. But there was a lot of morphing going on that, didn't seem
Was
intentional.
This was one of the first. It's actually my second clip I made. So I was sort of struggling whether to, and even if you find it on YouTube, there are comments like whether I should pull in those up or not. And I was kind of like, all this weirdness, is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I kind of struggle to, like, because you make it like too believable, like, will it actually retain that weirdness then? So it was my kind of early struggle. The ones I've done lately, like just very recently, I did put more time on cleaning up, cutting those imperfections and artifacts. But again, this whole thing was supposed to be unsettling and uncanny and weird, and all these changes and like all that, like glitches and all that. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
me
I,
it's
I
too.
really, I can't really fault you. It's way beyond my capabilities, and it's an amazing job. Like,
I mean, it's just a matter of like, I mean, you can definitely like, because the editing at the end is very manual. It's like you're nothing different from your traditional video editing. So definitely it's possible to to cut these. I definitely consciously decided not to. But whether it's a good thing, who knows? But it's technically very straightforward too. And you saw Philip's video. It's perfect, right? So clearly, Phil put like a lot of time on cleaning up and cutting those, because the AI does glitch. So whether you decide to leave these or cut them is kind of like more like an art decision rather than it's a kind of personal decision, right? So
Absolutely.
Yeah. I used to
I was like, there's something into it. Like,
I don't mind AI not being too uncanny though, like it's like I like to know when I'm seeing isn't real.
Right, I was just gonna say, like I've dabbled with deep fakes before, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's so obviously a deep fake, but that's part of it. It's like you don't want to actually make people think this is actually Joe Biden, for example.
Mhm.
It's a deep fake of him, or you know what I mean? But some people, they're so used to, oh, this is like a deep fake, and it's like, yeah, I know it's a deep fake, dude. That's the point.
yeah,
Like that's why it's funny.
trying
You
to
know what I mean? Like I don't know.
this is one thing. If they're trying to
It's so obviously a
have a
deep
laugh,
fake, right?
it's another thing, right? Like it depends.
But yeah, it
And
depends. And I think that like you're saying, it works with like the unsettling nature of it. So you have like
dark
those kind of midget
darkness and
people.
also glitches and also improperly rendered changing face and all that. And I kind of felt at the time that I would just leave it as is. But also I think it's a legitimate point. Then maybe there's, you know, I could just cut those because I have way more footage than I needed for this truck. So maybe one day I'll just redo it and have a cleaner version and see like if it works better or if it loses.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, again, you're totally right. It's an artistic decision and there's no right and wrong. But for me, the visuals were uncanny, or not uncanny, they were uh, unusual, dark enough that they didn't need that added layer of the face morphing. And that in and of itself, it was really amazing. And for me, I felt that changing took away from it because I mean, it's something. It's unlike anything I'd ever seen, and I liked it. And it just was just a little something extra. It was just almost too much, like too much mustard on your hot dog, right? I mean, I want to taste that hot dog a
I
little bit.
appreciate it. I mean, it's definitely a very legit feedback, and yeah, might actually uh, inspire me to take one more take on this and see
It
what
was
happens.
amazing, though, and the song was amazing. Like I
Round of
loved it.
colors.
Haven't heard something like that in a long time, and I really enjoyed it. I miss music like that. So well done.
Thank you.
So I'll go ahead and play the second track here. Anything you want to
Second
mention
is
about it?
called Retro Sci-Tech. So it's like psychedelic music and techno weird hybrid with some retro sound and some newer sound, and I figured some retro footage would fit. So we'll see if it works.
Nice. All right, let's check it out.
It's based on 1950s sci-fi kind of movies and books and like Isaac Asimov and stuff like that.
That's right up my alley, by the way. But yeah, man, let's check it out.
Oh, that's what the syringe was for. You put it on your face. I'm glad you cleared that up at the end. Those were amazing visuals. Retro futuristic. Great.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. That one made me smile a few times.
That car with like the water coming out of it was like
I'm just like, what was he
funny
doing? He's
thing.
like rubbing the sides of the car and the water's going.
When he was rubbing the sides of the car, that was a bit disturbing. There was something going on there.
I was supposed to get the car wash from it, but it hallucinated at this time, and I figured, okay.
Oh, okay. You went for the car wash. I see what you mean. And it literally,
Car wash, but then
that's hilarious.
I did something
I mean,
stupid with that.
I just kept thinking, like, put your eyes on the road. There's a dozen women who are driving, just looking to the left for 10, 20 seconds. But it was amazing. And I love the concept. Cool video. Yeah, like really great. I wanted to ask just a technique question. Something I've talked about, or I've heard about is a rumble kick, which I've used in another track, but where your kick hits, you send the kick to another channel. You do a big smear, so reverb, saturation, and whatever, and you have them side chain, so they kind of. Is that what you're using to get that deep bass coming, the sub bass coming after the kick? Excuse me.
You're on mute, Peter.
Am I?
No,
No,
Peter
other
Wolf.
Peter.
Oh, sorry.
The other Peter.
Oops.
There we
Sorry.
go.
Maybe
Yeah.
I can show you quickly.
2024. Don't you know how to use
I'm
it?
not gonna go through it, but I'm just gonna give you the very basic idea. I just need to figure
Can you
out.
share your screen?
Yes, my screen is
Are you allowed to sometimes?
ultra wide, so I'm not gonna be able to. Just let me load that track. Was it? I think it was one of those. Actually, it has very similar kick. So I'm just gonna load it, and I'm gonna share that very briefly.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. That's great.
Some of the things I just followed some instructions. Some things I don't know why they work like they do, and some things are mine. Just loading. Just give me a second and I'll.
But yeah, I mean that certainly has that sound where it's a reverb, also saturation delay of the kick that's pushing in and out, so it's the boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
I've never been as successful as making it sound that great.
So let's look at the kick here. So it has some things. So this is the kick itself, and then there's saturator, and then the reverb, which
is that a special VST, like an add-on?
no, it's all
Kick
like
verb.
pretty standard stuff, and but you need a suite for this full Ableton, and then there's the delay, and there's just another reverb, and there's another
Distortion, compressor,
a distortion, and then some processing. I don't know why it's there, and then the
you're pushing up the
compression
around 80 hertz.
Well, and some EQing magic, and like basically roughly that's one channel. Then I have where's my right? So I have I have
Is
another
that a
copy
parallel
of it.
channel?
I might actually, sometimes I loop, sometimes I copy. This is not really the finished project, but often enough I would just copy it exactly and add more rumble, and then I would sidechain it with the original one, so it wouldn't clash, and I can do it twice or even 3 times sometimes.
So that was on one channel, your kick channel,
Right. It's just,
and then you send it parallel to one or two more.
yeah.
Huh.
So there are lots involved, and it depends on the project, but basically, you can extend like the what we call like techno rumble. We can extend, like you can do like more, like say you can add the delay, but then you have to sidechain it so it doesn't clash with itself.
Mhm.
So that's basically, and those are like individual like tools that I use that are all standard. Actually, this is relatively new. That's why I'm not super comfortable with everything that's going on.
Mhm.
Because I used to do these things using Roland, and I ditched it like literally like in October, last October.
Wow.
So this whole setup is brand new. So I'm
But
kind
I
of
mean, it sounds like you've got like 8 effects or EQs, compressors, saturation, delay on your kick channel. So
on
you
each.
don't have a dry kick channel.
No. So this what I just demoed is a dry kick channel,
Mm.
and
With
there are other versions of it, like copies of it.
right, but it has those
But
eight
there,
effects or not like it has a huge amount of effects on it.
yeah, and then you tweak
Okay.
them until you're
Huh.
satisfied. But the trick is not to overdo it, because it very quickly becomes super dirty, like muddy, and
With the reverb especially.
yeah. So like.
Yeah, because I've always seen it as a
Like
parallel channel.
I'm not really like a professional, like I know like Vosta could explain it all properly. To me, the process is I throw something and then I play with that and I delete, and then I throw something else and I delete until I feel that I'm not like I don't know what I'm doing. Basically, I just trust my ears, and then I just play with things, and then at some point I save, and that's really like.
Same style as mine.
I
Yeah.
barely control like I kind of I don't control what's going on, basically. Like I just have like a reference track, and I switch back and forth and see like when I get to this like certain sound that I'm looking for, like getting it similar enough, then I can. But this is really like this cake is like 90% of everything.
Yeah,
Techno is
definitely
all about this
right.
on the rumble. Like some tracks have barely anything, like especially in the minimal, like they just do kick and a few layers of percussion, and that's a track.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Then like for me, what really stands out about the genre that you were playing there is the rumble. Like in both tracks, it's the rumble was the big thing that drew me to it and was nostalgic for me and was exceptionally well done. And that's why I wanted to ask about it. And from anything I've seen or tried to do, I've had the kick pop, 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 pop. That's one channel, and then we're doing parallel channels to blend that in. And so I'm surprised that you do it all in one, and it sound that kick still is so pops through. It's I mean, it's just a transient,
It's
but
just
it's
like there are templates that you can find that try to emulate it. So you get one of those, and then you just add your things until you're satisfied. Once you get that kick done, then you can produce one track a day easily, because everything else is like the remaining 20%. Like the whole genre is about this thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was fantastic. I love them both. That was great. Thank you, and thank you for the tutorial. I appreciate
Oh,
you sharing your
no
screen.
problem.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Enlightening.
and
I wish I
Marco
could
was telling
explain
me.
like better. Just because I don't really know sometimes what it does. Like I just try it and oh, interesting. Okay, I'll keep it. I'll keep this thing, right? And then and like after many years of doing it on with Roland, I could confidently explain like and try to like control things and explain what these things do and things like that, effects and all these multiple processing that's happening, all these original like 909 on, you know, drum machines and everything. Like Roland is good at this. But I kind of felt like I'm not progressing anymore because mainly because these tools from Roland, they lack automation, most of them, like very basic automation exists. So
Okay.
I kind of dropped everything and started over. But
And
I
Pete, are
started
you using Ableton
templates.
native synths now, or what are you kind of mainly using for your particular
They,
sounds?
yeah, these are like like standard analog and you know, like all these synths that just you know, they're included here. So
I can't even tell that you changed your tool chain. Like it doesn't, it still sounds awesome.
I
Yeah.
dropped the old one completely. Like
Yeah.
I unsubscribed from Roland. I can't even open the Roland projects anymore
Oh
because
no.
everything was like locked in
Subscription,
to Roland Cloud, right?
yeah.
Right.
Got that. So like I got a few templates. I didn't start from scratch.
Mm.
I got a few templates to start with. Some areas of those I still don't know how they work. So I kind of reverse engineering and one piece at a time, just trying to play with it and see what it
Mm.
does. So this is kind of I'm going through and again, like I most of the things that I see now, they're brand new to me. Like there are no Roland and tools like these in it. So so right now it's kind of very limited. Like once I learn more, we can get back to that and I'll be able to explain better like what other things do.
We'll see you next month. I'll have more questions.
Generally, it's pretty straightforward. You get that original, you know, dry kick, and then you just do saturator and reverb and like delay and all. Like I mean, all of these things, like generally, like they, I understand them generally what they do, but it's the devil is in the details in the particular settings that
Oh yeah, there's so many sub settings and it's incredible how
limitless.
deep you can go into it. It's
Fucking-
but I was gonna
Great
say
tracks.
I was speaking to Marco the other day and he was telling me because he's another Ableton user. I don't use Ableton and he was saying about templates and stuff and I was like, oh okay, that's cool. Like that you could actually have a template that loads up a lot of the settings, I guess, right? That's cool.
Yeah, they are preset to certain things, and then you can kind of start from there as opposed to starting from scratch. The
Yeah.
problem with all these templates, and the vast majority of them require you to have the full Ableton. So this is
Right,
one of the reasons I switched, like because like I mean, if I'm in the Roland ecosystem, none of these things help, right?
right.
Mm.
Because they don't have what I have, and uh, and buying the full Ableton is a huge investment for me. So I waited for what 6, 7, 8 years. I don't know how many
Oh
years.
really? I
Yeah,
didn't
like I
know.
mean, it was all like this limited version of Ableton before, because I
Right.
really didn't need any of the Ableton's capabilities. I was all in the Roland ecosystem, right? Which is it just exists in parallel, right? Like you can have like very limited, like even the intro version of Ableton, you can still do everything that you need to do.
Hmm.
But for as long as Roland allows you to do it, right? Then when you hit the limit, you're at the dead end. You can't really go back. Like you have to like go through the complete reset.
Right,
Right.
right. Yeah, that's the thing with the subscription, I guess, right? So you're kind of locked
Lock
in.
it in and you can't.
Yeah. I mean, it sounded great though. But at the end of the day, you're still, I think you're better off with this new setup, right?
I like this one more, and you can use the templates you can get, right? Like I mean, if you want a certain type of sound, you find the template, so you don't have to like spend weeks tweaking. You can start from somewhere as opposed to from like a default empty canvas.
Hmm.
And yeah, so that helped quite a bit. It's
Nice.
not a huge secret, right? I mean, I'm not, you know, some kind of like a pro. Like I just do it on the side and play with that. Like, but this particular investment in the full Ableton opened lots of doors, even though the Roland one closed.
Right, right.
Others open, and I think those are just better and
I
nothing.
think, yeah, you're probably on the right track as far as having more doors and windows open.
It's just more common, like because of the community is huge. How big of the Roland?
Yeah.
I mean, there are lots of Roland musicians, but in terms of community, like sharing templates, sharing VSTs, sharing advice, Roland is really like Roland Clouds, particularly. It's kind of a small ecosystem, relatively speaking.
Hmm.
At least I couldn't find a lot of help. I had a lot of questions about how that maybe there's some kind of separate special way automation works or whatever. Couldn't find much online. While with Ableton native stuff, there's so much you can learn like forever, these things. So like just basically, but also like Roland was appealing because it's $20 a day, whether I'm gonna continue, or I'm gonna try, whether I'm not gonna continue. I don't know. Like,
$20 a month or a day?
yeah, yeah.
A month.
A month.
Did I
Okay.
say
Right.
so a year? No, a month. $20 a month. So
Yeah.
you pay like, and it's kind of safe, right? If you don't like it, you
Cheaper than
just
Adobe. I don't know if you know anyone that has the real like Adobe subscription with like Photoshop and Premiere.
yeah.
It's like
But I
$90 a
know what
month,
you're
man.
saying. Oh, well,
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but this is like easy entry, like and then they lock you in. It's very hard to get out. So, and then the alternative is to pay $1,500 for the full suite. It's like a decision that you have to make if you really feel you.
Wow, 1,500. Wow. Okay. Damn, I didn't know that
Then,
was the price.
but I paid like this $20 a month. I paid for so many years. Like I would
Right.
be better off buying
Adds up.
full
It adds
suite
up.
back in the day. But again, you're brand new. How do you know if you even gonna stick with that, or you're gonna quit like in 3 weeks? Who knows, right? So
Yeah.
that's they
I
catch.
know a lot of people use crack stuff. Like me personally, I stay away from it, especially for all the lawyers out there. But in all sincerity, I just never really used cracked software. But yeah, I think I got a free version of the basic Ableton with a synthesizer I bought one time. I guess I still have it, but I use Reaper, as you know. So for me, I went from Acid Pro, which is totally like out of date. I mean, nobody uses that anymore. So I felt like a kid in the candy store, like once I went to a modern DAW and you can actually use like proper VSTs, you know what I mean? The MIDI doesn't like crash every time you try to make a change or something. So
Yeah, that's the thing. Or you download something, some project, some template project or whatever, like, and it's just not gonna load. And like it kind of works, but unless you buy into some particular ecosystem, like all that drum code stuff, like drum code citing stuff, whatever that main stage techno they call it. It's all basically serum, right?
Yeah, that's you hear a lot about. There's a lot of great synthesizers, but if you're trying to learn it, or if you're, I mean, like if you want presets or support, yeah, Serum's the one. Like Silent is done. People talk about Vital, but
yeah, I
there's
use
a lot.
Vital.
Yeah,
I
and
use
it's
Vital
great.
and Serum.
Yeah,
I actually even bought presets, and I know this might be shocking for Serum. I got like some ghost and horror movie
yeah,
presets or
sure.
whatever, and it's my go-to for like my pads and for extra.
Yeah,
My
why
opinion,
not?
whatever works. You know what I mean? Like some people are into like making their own presets. You know what I mean? But I honestly
Good for them.
I've never been able to make a preset better than the presets that exist, basically. You know what I mean? Like in all sincerity, like
Yeah, and then if you want to, like, never mind it, whether you use the presets or not, if you're trying to learn how to do sound design, it's better to have that huge library of presets to look at how people did it so you can do your own, right?
yeah,
To
yeah,
try to figure out how to do your own with no presets and just from scratch. I mean, you're honestly you're going to spend a lot of
It's an
time.
art and a science, you know, and there's people that have that capability, right? The other thing I mentioned before, and I'll mention again, if you have Serum, you can get Serum FX as a free VST plugin where you can just use the effects section. And there's some really cool effects that Serum has. So you throw
And
like one synth into your
yeah,
Serum effects and
same exact idea. You get Roland, and then you can Roland effects. Like it's all like the model is like I guess major you know names. They use the same model, and then you kind of invest your time and your money in this, and then you end up like in that ecosystem, like, and then you
Yeah.
kind of live in that.
You have to break out of it. Yeah,
It's
you
very
get really
hard to
tied
get
to it.
on. It's like
Well,
Well,
I'm
you've
in.
done a great
like
job.
struggling with that. Like for so long, I kind of felt a discontent with like all these things that I've been paying for, like this doesn't do that, this doesn't do that. How do I get that sound? There's maybe I can. Roland is cool, but I don't have anybody to ask. You know, you ask on Reddit how, you know, like the techno production subreddit. How do this guy does this sound like? And there are tons of options. You look at them, and none of that works free because you with freaking Roland and like none of this stuff applies, right? And it's like,
right.
okay, you know what? Thank you, Roland. It was a nice start. You kind of get me rolling. So thank you for that. But it's
Well,
time for us to
some for Serum and Ableton.
lead up.
I mean, honestly, those are so popular with electronic production. You can't get away from it.
Take care, Philip. I just saw your
Yep.
Thanks, Phil.
See
have a good
everybody. I
one
gotta
and
run. Yep.
Take it easy, Phil. Thanks for
Happy
sharing.
holidays, everyone.
Love your
yeah,
video.
yeah,
Yeah,
happy
cheers.
Yeah,
holidays.
you too.
Yeah,
I got to do the
whatever's-
same, guys. I'm going to send a message, but yeah, I got to go. Thank you so much.
Me too.
And thanks,
Yeah,
Peter.
yeah,
I
another great
appreciate
night.
that. Sure.
Thank you guys
Yeah.
all for joining us, and yeah, we'll do it again in the new year. If we don't talk before then, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and like I say, we'll set something up in January.
Cool.
Awesome stuff.
All right.
Really
Good
appreciate
night,
it.
everybody. Happy
Good night.
holidays.
Cheers. Great meeting.